against our entire nation. It was a crime against humanity. The hearts of all Americans tonight are with those two members of the West Virginia National Guard and their families. The love of our entire country is pouring out for them, and we are lifting them up in our prayers. As we are filled with anguish and grief for those who were shot, we're also filled with righteous anger and ferocious resolve. As President of the United States, I am determined to ensure that the animal who perpetrated this atrocity pays the steepest possible price. I can report tonight that based on the best available information, the Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. He was flown in by the Biden administration in September 2021 on those infamous flights that everybody was talking about. Nobody knew who was coming in. Nobody knew anything about it. His status was extended under legislation signed by President Biden, a disastrous president, the worst in the history of our country. This attack underscores the single greatest national security threat facing our nation. The last administration let in 20 million unknown and unvetted foreigners from all over the world, from places that you don't want to even know about. No country can tolerate such a risk to our very survival. An example is Minnesota, where hundreds of thousands of Somalians are ripping off our country and ripping apart that once great state. Billions of dollars are lost, and gangs of Somalians come from a country that doesn't even have a government, no laws, no water, no military, no nothing. As their representatives in our country preach to us about our Constitution and how our country is no good. We're not going to put up with these kind of assaults on law and order by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling. That is why tonight I can announce that I have directed the Department of War to mobilize an additional 500 troops to help protect our capital city. We will make America totally safe again, and we will bring the perpetrator of this barbaric attack to swift and certain justice if the bullets going in the opposite direction haven't already done that. During this time of the year, when we gather at home with loved ones, these two patriots were wearing the uniform of our country, patrolling the streets of our capital. They had taken a selfless oath to defend our nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that is exactly what they were doing when they were gunned down in a savage attack. I want to express my extraordinary gratitude to every member of the United States military who is deployed tonight at home and abroad. I also want to thank the Secret Service and the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department for their work today. This Thanksgiving, I ask every family to say a prayer for the two great heroes who were so horribly shot, and for their loved ones. Please say a prayer. May God bless them and comfort them, and may God bless and protect the United States.
That is shameful moment, because I always jokingly say that Minnesota doesn't just welcome refugees, but it sent one to Congress. Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, subah wa naksan. I am really delighted to see so many incredible leaders and so much of our community here. I want to start with a gratitude by thanking the Minnesota Democratic delegation. Senator Amy Klobuchar, Senator Tina Smith, Congresswoman Angie Craig, Congresswoman Betty McCollum, for strongly speaking in opposition to the hate, to the fear-mongering, and for standing up in unity for the Somali community here in Minnesota and across the country. I also want to thank Governor Tim Walz, Lieutenant Governor Perry Flanagan, Attorney General Keith Ellison, for reminding folks why Minnesota is a great state, because we all stay united and uplift one another. And I want to thank the incredible leaders who are behind me, whether they are elected officials or faith leaders or community leaders, for speaking in one unified voice against the scapegoating of a community that has thrived in Minnesota and whom most have chosen to call this state home. I think I want to speak to a few things. One, I want to speak to what Trump has tweeted and what it means for those of us who call this incredible state home. Because facts matter, and facts are important. It is unfortunate that we are led by a president who does not understand the laws of this land. That's right. When the president tweets as if he has the authority to terminate temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota, even little kids in 8th grade know that that is not an authority that the president has and can wield. Temporary status protection for Somalis expires March of 2026, and anyone with that status has 60 days after for it to have any impact on them. And so if you are confused, if you feel threatened, know that the law is on your side and our demented president can't do anything about it. The other unlawful thing that our lawless president is claiming to do so is to terminate that status for only one state, which he has no authority to do so. So, for the 300 or so people that are impacted, that currently live in Minnesota and across the country, we see you and we stand with you, and we will make sure we do everything that we can to help make sure that your status is adjusted before March of 2026. Because you know and I know that there is nothing temporary about people's lives here in the United States. Many of these people that we are talking about have built lives. They own homes, they own businesses, they are a vibrant part of our communities. And we want to make sure that their new home stays their forever home. The second thing I want to speak to is that in this country, we do not blame the lawlessness of an individual on a whole community. Because if you believe in law and order, you understand that if a person commits a crime, they face justice. And that you don't put that crime on a whole community. What we also know is that there is not a single evidence that the president or his coonies have put forth that there are any single resource from taxpayers in Minnesota that has gone to aid and abet terrorism. That language is dangerous. That language puts the lives of Somalis not only in Minnesota, but across the country in danger. And if the president believed that, and he had evidence, he would take people to court. So we are sick and tired of the president waking up one day and deciding to put forth falsehoods and demonize whole communities, while the ignorant people that support him then take the lies that he's spreading and use it as a fact. We've seen it during the campaign where he said Asians were eating cats and dogs. We've seen his vice president repeat those lies. We've seen the media run it as a headline as if it was a fact. That is shameful. That is shameful. That is ignorant. It makes us look like a stupid nation that does not believe in truth but traffics in lies. It makes the world mock us, and we are better than that. We are better than that as Americans. Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive. Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation. We have signed up to serve this country in its military. We have signed up to teach children. We have signed up to become nurses and doctors and engineers. We have signed up to be public servants and get elected into office. We don't do that because we hate this nation. We do that because we love this nation. We do that because we have deep gratitude to the Americans who have given us the opportunity to find a new home, to settle in that new home, to find new joys in that new home, to start families in that new home, and to call that new home our own. We don't complain on the sidelines. We get involved in making America better. And finally, before I get off this stage, I just want to take a moment, because I always jokingly say that Minnesota doesn't just welcome refugees, but it sent one to Congress. I want most Minnesotans to know this. Majority of us Somalis who are here, as my friend Ali said yesterday, most of us, this was not the first place we came when we came to the United States. But most of us chose Minnesota as our home because Minnesota is special to us. Minnesotans are special to us. When we moved from Arlington, Virginia and came here nearly 30 years ago, none of us decided to move to another state. My siblings and I and my dad, until he died, called Minnesota home. Because, like I said, Minnesota is special. And I know almost every single elected Somali Minnesotan did not start out in Minnesota, but chose to come here, stay here, start families here, and ultimately serve the people who welcomed them into this beautiful state. So not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American. We are not going to allow anybody to push us into the shadows. We're not going to allow anybody to erase our presence and our contribution, and we are not going to allow anyone to scapegoat us. Because as Somalis, what we learned from Minnesotans is that you have to be resilient to thrive in Minnesota. And we are goddamn resilient. Thank you so much.
The president's tweet cannot divide us, and it cannot change who we are. We care about our issues. We cannot be a community that can be divided, scapegoated, and pitted against each other. We're for love, unity, brotherhood, and helping each other. And with that, we live on, and with that, we die on. Thank you so much.
Please give them a hand. Before I welcome our next speaker, I remembered the last time our president tweeted about or said something about the Somali community here in Minnesota. Right after that, when he attacked the Somali community, a year after we saw the bombing attack in Masjid Darul Farouk in Bloomington. So instead of dealing with the real issue, our president has decided to attack our community. And we're going to be standing up. And with that, I want to welcome our next speaker, Pastor Martha. Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pastor Martha Bardwell. I serve as lead pastor at Our Savior's Lutheran Church in South Minneapolis. And I have to say first that I am just so inspired and touched by the witness of the Somali community in this moment. When the president's hateful and slanderous words struck fear in you this weekend and put a target on you, instead of shutting down in panic, what did you do? You opened your doors wide and you called us together to share a meal? So inspiring. I honestly cannot think of anything more American, more Minnesotan than a potluck.
That's right.
Seriously. This is what being neighbors is all about. And yet our president would have us believe, us non-Somalis believe that the Somalis are terrorizing our communities. We know that's not true.
That's right.
We know that is not true. Minnesotans across race, across faith, across place, we all know that that is a lie.
That's right.
Because you are our neighbors, you are our family members, you are our friends, you are the business owners in our communities, you're our healthcare providers, you represent us in the State House, you are pillars in our community, you are woven into the fabric of Minnesota. So let's be very clear. What our president is doing is wrong. It is damaging. It is hateful. It is slanderous. It is tearing families apart.
That's right.
And we won't stand by and tolerate it.
That's right.
No. We are here. We are here to stand with you, and we're here to push back with love, with power, with moral clarity and purpose. And as a Christian pastor today in our churches around the world, it's a special Sunday called Christ the King Sunday. And it's a day that we lift up that Jesus was a king who was a very different kind of king. He was not a worldly ruler or a tyrant. who wanted wealth and power for himself over others. Instead, Jesus was a king of love, if we are to speak of him as a king at all. He was a king of love who taught us to love our neighbors as ourselves, to welcome the stranger, to feed the hungry, to heal the sick, to tell the truth, and to lift up the dignity and worth of all people made in the image of God. And for his message of love, Jesus was himself scapegoated and targeted and othered by an unjust system. And so Jesus calls us very clearly, those of us who would call him king, calls us clearly to stand in solidarity beside all of our neighbors who are scapegoated today, who are slandered today, who are othered today, who are stepped on today, and to tell the truth and to seek justice. I told the children in our church this morning during our children's sermon that our Somali neighbors are scared right now. They're classmates. My kids' classmates are scared right now. And so during worship, they colored these beautiful signs, which I left at church. And I'll have to come back and bring them because we know that solidarity isn't about showing up once. It's about showing up again and again and again. So we'll be back and we'll bring our signs that say we love our Somali neighbors and love is greater than fear.
Woo! Please give her a hand, Pastor Martha. Woo! All right. I now want to give the mic to Brother Ali, a community leader of this community, to say a few words.
How are you all doing? I want to lift your mood up a little. I know how you feel, and the speakers before us. Thank you, Pastor. One of the most powerful questions that Minnesotans ask those of us from Somalia is, why did you guys came here? Knowing that the difference in temperature. And it's weird, you know, when you grew up in a 100-degree the whole time in the equator, and then you come -20 where you have to check your ears if they're still there, you know? So, and here's what I tell people. And it is very unfortunate that today our highest leaders are trying to divide our communities. But I want to tell you one thing. If you're in Minnesota, if you're watching from Florida, Mr. DeSantis, or anywhere else, Mike Johnson, there is nothing like Minnesota love.
That's right.